The NSA's metadata collection program is set to expire at the end of this year, but these congressmen and women are hoping to kill it before then, so it can't be reauthorized. Joining me now, one of the co-sponsors of the House legislation, Michigan Republican Congressman and House Oversight Committee member, Justin Amash, is back. Welcome back, Congressman.
Hey, Kennedy.
So tell me about this. Do you believe that the NSA is no longer collecting metadata?
I don't know, but we can make sure that they're not by passing this legislation and trying to expand some oversight. And I think some of that oversight is going to have to come in another bill that we'll be working on. But this bill at least lets us eliminate the program on paper that reports say they're not using anymore, and which is scooping up lots of data that it shouldn't be scooping up.
Absolutely. And they have finally realized that they were illegally taking in so much information that they stopped, and they really didn't have anywhere to store it. And of course, the law was amended in 2015, so they had to get access from phone companies who were storing it on their servers instead of the NSA storing metadata. And by the way, metadata and what that means is so different now than it was 15 years ago. And, or even 18 years ago when we started this sort of mass surveillance state that has really grown out of control. So this is really only a first step, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a first step. And when the USA Freedom Act was being discussed, I was one of the opponents of the legislation which reauthorized the program. And one of the points I made was that it would, in fact, expand the program and allow for the government to access even more data. And it seems like that's what actually happened. So this is just a first step. This is to stop the government from collecting data on an ongoing basis and from using what are called hops, where they go after someone who is talking to someone who is in the initial collection. So right now the government is going a few hops out, and this would eliminate that ability. But we need a lot more oversight. There has to be more transparency in the program, and there's still not much we know about what's going on at the surveillance court. So we don't know.
That's the thing. We don't know. So much of this is done in secret, and so many of the people who fought to reauthorize and craft these pieces of legislation, they're the ones who act surprised that it has been abused by the CIA and the FBI and the NSA. They're the ones who are so upset that this president has been a target of these surveillance programs that has to be frustrating for you.
Yeah, nobody should be surprised about it. I was sounding the alarm. Senator Paul was sounding the alarm. Senator Wyden was sounding the alarm. Zoe Lofgren in the House was sounding the alarm. We were talking about this years ago. And in fact, to bring up the point about the president signed into law FISA 702 reauthorization just last year. And, that was, or it might have been a couple years ago now, but that was a reauthorization of a program that is just as bad as this program, if not worse.
It's awful.
And then a week later, you had people go on TV and say, oh, this is such a big deal, and it's so concerning that FISA is being used against the president.
Yeah, can you believe that? Yeah, after Devin Nunes and people just like him were screaming from the mountaintops how we had to reauthorize all of this unconstitutional nonsense. So you obviously have a lot that you want to change in Washington. Your name has been bandied about to potentially run on the Libertarian ticket for president in 2020. What do you have to say about that?
Well, there are a lot of people suggesting that. What I would say
You're
is,
smiling. You like the suggestion.
What I would say is I'm focused on my work. I'm trying to make a difference here in Congress. But I do think that there is a problem with our two-party system.
Absolutely.
I think people can see that it's not getting the job done to protect people's rights.
Congress is a suckhole. It's a horrible place. If you debated Beto O'Rourke, which of you would emerge victorious?
Well, he's a nice guy, and we got along just fine in Congress.
He's not smart, is he?
But I would beat him in the debate.
That's absolutely right. That's what I like to hear. Congressman Justin Amash, your future president, you heard it right here. Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks, Kennedy.